Well, this weekend, Boldin dropped into beta the brand new Document Vault feature. And in this video, I'm going to take a first look at it. I'm David, and welcome back for another quick feature update for the Boldin retirement planning platform. Not going to waste any of your time. Let us jump right into the new Document Vault feature. To be able to access the new Document Vault, you need to make sure that you have opted into the beta plan. Once your beta is turned on, if you look in the menu on the left-hand side, you'll see there's a new option called Document Vault. When you launch the Document Vault, it comes up with a brand new window. Document Vault describes itself as your financial documents organized and ready to act on. Also on this startup page, there's a very important condition that you have to agree to. It says, before you add documents, Document Vault stores and encrypts your files and uses AI to read them so that it can surface insights for your plan. By continuing, you accept our updated privacy policy, updated June 29th, 2026, which governs how your documents are stored, processed, and analyzed. You have to agree to this policy before you can continue using the Vault. Well, I was curious as to what was new in the privacy policy. So I took the old privacy policy and the new privacy policy and I put them into Gemini and asked it to compare the two and tell me what was different. And here's what Gemini came back with. The bottom line on the privacy changes is that the older one treats your data primarily as standard profile fields and text inputs for a chatbot. The new life policy updates their legal framework to protect actual document files like tax returns, wills, and account statements, and adds the mandatory state-level compliance language required to govern highly sensitive data and automated AI parsing. In other words, Boldin has to tell you how they're protecting the documents that you put in and how they're going to use them. So coming on down the screen, it gives 3 examples of what the Document Vault can do for you. It says, upload your latest account statement and see your asset allocation, tax diversification, and what to optimize. It also says, store your estate documents securely, wills, trusts, beneficiary designations, all in one place. And add last year's tax return and uncover the tax planning strategies you might be missing. So pretty much what I think this is saying is that it will do numerical analysis of the statements that you upload. It can behave as just a secure location to store sensitive documents, and that it'll also give you strategic advice based on things like your tax return. Now let's look down at the bottom of the page, and it has an interesting statement. It says, bank level secure, stored for life. Not 100% sure what this means. Bank level secure, I can kind of wrap my head around, meaning it's telling you your stuff is really secure. The other thing though is secure for life. I'm really not sure what that means. Does that mean Boldin is planning to provide us with this secure storage until I'm 95? Kind of doubt it. Anyway, I'm not totally sure what that means. So once you've agreed to the policy, now you can select add files. You can add one file or you can select multiple files to add. I managed to do both. Once you add a file, it comes back and it shows you 3 different states. When you first add a file, it will tell you uploaded. Then it will switch from uploaded to processing. And finally, after it finishes processing, it will say ready. I learned that the move from processing to ready varies wildly depending on the complexity of the file that you upload. I uploaded a complex file with lots of numbers in it. It took a long time to make that transition. When I uploaded a document that was pretty much all words, it didn't take quite as long. It also seemed like it took longer if you gave it multiple files versus giving it just one file. So now that my documents were in and they were ready, I asked my first question, which is, what kind of things can I ask you about my documents that are in the vault? So before I tell you what answer it came back with, I just wanted to add one little clarification. Something I learned is that if you're asking it questions about things that are in the vault, even if you are actually in that vault menu, or not menu, but that vault page that shows your documents, you need to tell AI, looking at the documents that are in the vault, comma, do this. Don't just assume if you ask a question that it knows you're asking about things that are in the vault. You have to be specific about that. At least that seems to be the way it's behaving right now. So after I asked my question, Boldin came back and told me this. What's in your vault? I can search for I can search your uploaded documents and find details, uh, stuff about your tax return or brokerage account, all those kinds of things. Secondly, what you've stored. I can tell you what documents you have. And looking at your vault right now, I see you've uploaded an account statement, a trust document, and several monthly spending CSVs. That's all correct. That's what I uploaded into the vault. It also said how to organize or use them. I can help you understand how to get the most out of the vault feature. I specifically asked Boldin, are you able to make changes to the plan based on information found in the vault? I wanted to know if AI is able to make changes directly to my selected scenario. Well, Boldin AI came back and said, no, I can't make changes based on what's in the vault. However, I learned as going through this process that it actually can make changes to your plan from AI. It can go in and make these changes. And here's how I know that. I asked it some questions about documents in the vault. I asked it to do some comparisons between the 401k statement that I uploaded and what was in the plan. And it came back, it gave me a list of things that were different. And then one of the things it said was, hey, your balances don't match. And then it asked me, would you like to update this in your plan? I was pretty surprised. I didn't think AI could do that. So I made sure that I had my sandbox scenario selected. And then I went back in and I told it, yes, I would like you to make these changes. So I went through a few checks and then it came up with this page asking me to review a proposed change. And after I had reviewed it, I told it to apply it. And by golly, it did. So AI is able to make changes to your plan. Now, here's what's interesting. I was not able to get Boldin AI to repeat this behavior for other questions. It just would not later on give me the option to make changes to my plan. It wouldn't say, hey, review and apply. It didn't do it. So I don't know what's going on here. Maybe because it's beta, it sometimes does it, sometimes doesn't, sometimes does, sometimes doesn't. I don't know. But beta is beta. So remember, if you're going to be using this tool, it may behave in some odd and inexplicable ways. And finally, I just asked it a series of questions. I asked it about, hey, compare my 401k statement to my 401k information in the plan. Assess my return rates. Are they correct? Do they need to be changed? I also asked it to uh, compare my expenses that I uploaded in these CSV files that come out of my Quicken. I can track all my documents inside of Simplify. I uploaded those and I said, compare my expenses that I have in these CSV files to the expenses in my detailed budgeter. I asked it some factual questions about my statements and other documents in there, and about my trust documents. Here's what I found in just an hour of playing with the tool. It's really good at answering factual questions, like who is the designated beneficiary for such and such in my trust. It did a pretty good job with general mathematical questions. Questions like return rates or maybe tax rates. It seemed to do okay with those. Where it struggled, though, was more complicated questions. When I asked it to compare my CSV files of expenses to my detailed budgeter and tell me, are my expenses inside of the plan appropriate, it simply crashed. It ran and ran and ran and ran, and then it just stopped. It said unable to enter or whatever error message it gives. I tried this 3 times, and each time it just crashed. It couldn't handle it. So that's a really complicated query. I didn't really expect it to come back with much, and the fact that it crashed tells me that the Boldin AI certainly does have its limitations. So that's it for this quick look at this new Boldin feature. As we go through time, I guess we'll learn more about it. So is this a useful tool? Is it just a gimmick? I hope that you'll play with it yourself and then put some comments down below and let us know what you think about the new Boldin document vault. As always, I am so thankful for you watching this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Always appreciate a like. The comments are what drive this thing forward, so please make your comments below. And I hope that your retirement is even more amazing than you could possibly imagine. Until next time, take care.